welcome to another video at the Band Impact. Today we will explore a different topic related to the world of mixed martial arts and combat sports. As a martial artist, in the past, I had to contend with this issue throughout my competitive career. A practice that's far from safe, the dangerous trend of weight cutting and rapid weight loss. Encouraged by several incentives, it can lead to serious health complications for fighters. But before we delve into the perils of weight cutting, let's understand what MMA is all about. MMA, or mixed martial arts, is a sport that combines the most effective techniques from various disciplines, allowing fighters to battle using both striking and grappling moves. The sport was introduced to the United States in 1993 by the Ultimate Fighting Championship, or the UFC, and has since gained immense popularity. Over the years, MMA has evolved, adopting new rules from various athletic governing organizations to promote its growth. One significant change that has happened was the introduction of new weight division, which allows athletes to compete fairly based on their size and strength. In MMA, fighters register for a specific weight class to participate in an event. To ensure fairness, fighters confirm their weight class through a weigh-in process held approximately 24 hours before the main event. Now, let's talk about weight cutting. It has become a strategic part of MMA at all levels of competition. In fact, reports indicate that a staggering 95% of fighters engaged in some form of weight reduction. And this practice isn't exclusive to MMA. It's prevalent in many combat sports. So, how does it work? Fighters typically train at a heavier body mass weight, and then they use drastic methods to shed their weight, allowing them to compete in a lower weight division. This meticulous and periodized process has become a tactical strategy in the world of MMA, but it's also a practice that comes with significant risks. Now, let's take a closer look at how weight cutting unfolds in MMA. While some fighters choose to adopt a slow approach for weight loss over long periods of time, others, both professional and amateur, embark in this process about 7 days before their scheduled weigh-in. The primary goal is to shed body mass and qualify for a lower weight class. Then, in the final 24 hours leading up to the main fight, their aim is to regain as much body mass as possible. The underlying strategy here is to enter the fight with a higher weight than their registered division. In theory, this means they will step into the octagon with a larger, more robust body frame and a greater striking force. But why do fighters put themselves through this grueling process? One of the biggest driving factors is money. Reports reveal that athletes who fail to meet their weight targets risk losing a substantial portion of their purse, up to 20%. This monetary motivation plays a significant role in pushing fighters to extreme weight-cutting measures. The weight-cutting culture in MMA is further fueled by the influencers in a fighter's corner, like training partners, coaches, and even the upcoming opponent. Everybody engages in it. This dynamic sets up a somewhat perverse incentive structure. In many cases, both fighters in the main event plan to undergo dramatic weight reduction before the weigh-in and then strive for a significant weight regain. The goal? To enhance their force production and gain an edge to secure victory in the match. This isn't a new phenomenon. Early proponents of weight cutting, Roble and Moxley in 1998 demonstrated that in a wrestling varsity tournament, 57% of wrestlers who cut more than 5% of their body mass placed in the top 4, compared to just 33% of those who lost less than 5% of body mass. However, it's important to note that MMA athletes often cut a far higher percentage of their body mass compared to wrestling or any other combat sport. This difference is due to the unique time structures and rule sets in MMA. The combination of striking and grappling demand different performance requirements and distinct physiological responses. In fact, weight loss seen in MMA is staggering. While other martial arts show an average body weight reduction of 6%, MMA athletes report the most significant weight loss. They lowered their body mass by an astounding 11.5%, with 6.5% lost in the last 14 days and a further 4% reduction in the final 24 hours, leading to weight in. It's essential to recognize that the prevalence of rapid weight loss is more pronounced among professional athletes than among amateur fighters. Now, let's delve into the strategies MMA fighters employ to achieve their weight loss goals during preparation. These techniques encompass gradual dieting, increased exercise activity, and fluid reduction. The goal is to target body composition elements including fat mass, adipose tissue, and fat-free mass, muscle protein, glycogen stores, and water. Fighters initiate a gradual dieting process with energy restriction and low carbohydrate consumption beginning 8 weeks before the fight. One common method is water loading, where athletes consume large quantities of water before transitioning into a fluid restriction period. This helps induce hormonal responses that facilitate weight loss. Some fighters report consuming up to 2 gallons of water daily over 4 days, usually around a week before the fight. Others reduce sodium intake and increase fluid consumption, leading to excessive urine production. Excessive sweating is another approach to shedding pounds. Fighters may utilize saunas to train while wearing plastic or rubber suits. In some cases, they resort to over-the-counter laxatives and diuretics. Nutritional supplements are also part of the arsenal. In the final 24 hours leading up to the weigh-in, athletes enter the acute weight-cutting phase. During this period, they abstain from food and fluids. Instead, they undergo a series of cycles that include warm bath immersions, being wrapped in layers of blankets and towels, even using wax or oil rubs. Before the ban from the U.S. anti-doping agency USADA in 2019, MMA fighters relied on intravenous glycerol to rehydrate post-weigh-in, allowing them to recover most of the weight lost in the 24-hour period between the weigh-in and the fight. Today, modern rehydration methods have shifted towards a more controlled approach. The goal is to replace at least 150% of the fluids lost immediately after the weigh-in. This involves adding electrolytes and glucose to water, maximizing water absorption, and focus on higher carbohydrate consumption. The process of weight cutting in MMA is not only intense, but also entails several intricate strategies. The energy restriction to drastic fluid manipulation and acute weight cutting techniques, fighters go to great lengths to gain a competitive edge. However, the risks associated with these practices cannot be ignored. The consequences of rapid weight loss in MMA are far-reaching and detrimental, affecting both the health and performance of athletes. Energy restriction can lead to altered endocrine function, muscular atrophy, and fatigue. It can also impact bone health, depress the immune system, and result in higher cortisol levels. The extreme energy restriction in the days leading up to the weigh-in brings additional risks, such as electrolyte imbalances, plasma volume reductions, and cardiovascular concerns. Reduced testosterone levels have also been detected 24 hours before a fight. Acute dehydration can impair athletic performance, affecting thermoregulatory and cardiovascular functions due to hypovolemia and hyperosmolarity. These conditions may occur when someone loses significant amounts of fluid and then tries to rehydrate rapidly with water without replacing the lost electrolytes, including sodium. In addition, water loading, if not properly dosed, can lead to hyponatremia. Drinking too much water without sufficient sodium intake can dilute the sodium concentration in the blood, which can be fatal. There are also concerns that extreme weight loss might increase the risk of brain trauma should an athlete fall unconscious from a knockout. In some cases, fighters experience severe hypernatremia characterized by elevated levels of sodium in the blood and changes in serum creatinine levels, consistent with acute kidney injury. If someone with hypernatremia is dehydrated, this can lead to a decrease in overall blood volume, which may affect kidney function and can result in a temporary increase in creatinine levels. This is because dehydration can reduce blood flow to the kidneys and decrease the ability to filter and excrete waste products like creatinine. Therefore, it's important to address both hypernatremia and dehydration as correcting the underlying dehydration. These may help to improve kidney function and subsequently normalize creatinine levels. Repetitive weight cutting cycles may make MMA athletes more sensitive to long-term kidney complications. From a performance perspective, rapid weight loss can impair judgment, coordination, and concentration, affecting both aerobic and anaerobic metabolism. It can lead to a compromised ability to sustain maximum efforts, with slower reaction times and cognitive impairments. The practice of short-term weight cutting is a deeply rooted cultural aspect of MMA, but it represents a significant ethical problem for the health of the athletes. There's a growing call from governing bodies to play a more active role in creating a regulatory framework that discourages harmful weight cutting practices. So, what can be done to address this issue? Practical interventions include introducing more weight divisions to reduce the disparities between classes, setting maximum weight regain allowances following the official weigh-in process, measuring hydration levels, scheduling weigh-ins less than 24 hours before the fight, and testing athletes for diuretics in line with the World Anti-Doping Agency WADA policies. Additionally, educating the entire MMA community about the dangers and the consequences of weight cutting is crucial. One Championship is an organization that has been at the forefront of this issue. They have implemented a groundbreaking system to ensure athlete safety by introducing a walking weight competition. Athletes' daily training weight is closely monitored and matched with a weight class based on that walking weight. The organization conducts hydration tests before and during event week to ensure athletes are well hydrated and fit for competition. During event week, all athletes participate in a combined weigh-in and hydration test. Hydration is rigorously checked through a urine-specific gravity test, where each athlete submits a urine sample to a medical technician. The technician and doctor assess the urine sample to ensure the athlete is adequately hydrated, with a urine-specific gravity value of 1.025 or below. If the athlete passed this test, they are allowed to weigh in. Additionally, their weight must fall within the restriction of their contracted weight class or catch weight limit. On the event day, athletes who successfully made weight and passed the hydration test the previous day are exempt from further weigh-ins. However, if an athlete misses weight or fails the hydration test, they are required to pass a hydration test and meet the weight limit on the event day. One Championship has established a strict set of rules to address weight offenders. If an athlete fails the hydration test on the event day, they're not permitted to compete. In the case where an athlete passes the hydration test but weighs in above the restrictions of the contracted weight class, a bout may still take place at a catch weight, provided an athlete is within 5% of their opponent's official weight, and the opponent consents to this arrangement. Furthermore, a percentage of the offending athlete's purse will be given to their opponent as a penalty for failing to make weight. The organization maintains a firm stance on weight-related offenses. Post-bout weight may not exceed 5% over the weight class or catch weight limit. Offenders face consequences as follows. For a first offense, the athlete receives an official warning. Second offense, the athlete will be penalized 25% of their total fight purse. On a third offense, the athlete will face a substantial penalty of 50% of their purse and will be permanently disqualified from competing in the current weight class, with the requirement to move up to the next higher weight class. One Championship's approach represents a pioneering effort in addressing the weight-cutting issue in MMA by placing a strong emphasis on hydration tests and strict penalties for weight-related offenses. They set new standards for athlete safety and fairness in the sport of MMA. As MMA continues to evolve, it's essential for other organizations to follow suit and prioritize the health and the well-being of the fighters. Now, as a final story, I have my personal experience with competing in a competition, the US Open in Taekwondo, Olympic Taekwondo. So I struggled with weight management and weight cutting throughout my competitive career. Now, for this competition, I thought I was going to compete at the under 74 kilograms or 173 pounds division. But I was heavier, and I said, well, just in case I go weigh myself, I will change division. However, I will go for my first weigh in, and the judges tell me you are 174 pounds and for the under 80 kilograms. And therefore, you have one more attempt, and if you don't qualify, you cannot compete. After hearing that, I went to the hotel spa. I wore as many clothes as I could. I did not have running shoes, and I ran for 1 hour on a treadmill at the speed of 9 miles per hour. I was literally dying. And from 9 to noon, I lost about 3 kilograms in order to make the weight. Even actually should have been even more, because I was 171.9 when I weighed in the first time. And after, I was 172.2. So I lost about 10 pounds in the time frame of 3 hours. The next day, I had to compete, and I was depleted. I was fatigued. I could not reason objectively on when I was sparring, and I paid the cost for cutting that weight too fast. That to tell you that there's consequences in cutting weight too fast. Well, this concludes our video for the dangers of weight cutting in mixed martial arts and combat sports. And thank you for watching. As always, if you find any value in this content, subscribe, share, comment below, and I will see you next time.